in a handful of places around the world. Pink granite is the most predominant mineral on this island. As a matter of fact, this island is mostly made out of it. That and another mineral called Ellsworth schist, that gray mineral on our right, that's Ellsworth schist. But the granite is more dominant on this island and very unique. The pink comes from a mineral called feldspar, but what makes this granite really unique is it has quartz in it, bits of quartz, and it sparkles in the sunshine. We used to have many active quarries on this island, and when we did, the granite from this island was exported all over the world. If any of you have ever been to Grand Central Station in New York, you know that it's made out of pink granite. A lot of that granite came from right here on this island. The cathedral at Notre Dame in France, originally made out of pink granite, that occurred in France. France had some granite similar to this. When they went to do the restoration of that cathedral, the granite in France had been quarried out and they imported granite from this island to France to complete the restoration of the cathedral at Notre Dame. We have no active quarries on this island right now. They shut down many years ago. But this area still has a lot of active granite quarries. We have granite shops all over the place up here. Here's a little overview of Frenchman's Bay. Now that's nothing compared to what we're going to see when we go up the mountain. Because of that little dance I did on my porch today, you're going to have 100+ mile views when we get to the top of Cadillac. It is quite magnificent. And I, after 40+ years living here, I am still in awe of the beauty of this place. And I still feel really fortunate to be able to live in such an amazingly beautiful place. Now, for most of our trip, we're going to be in the fire zone. You'll have an idea of the scope of the fire. One way you know you're in the fire zone, if you look to both sides of the road, you see white birch trees. The natural forest of this island is a conifer forest, 7 species of conifers and mixed hardwoods. After the fire came through, the birch trees replaced the conifers because birch trees seed more readily than do conifers. Now, birch trees are also relatively short-lived. They live 100 years or less. And a lot of people believe eventually the birch trees will yield again to the conifers and this area will revert back to a conifer forest. But right now, the woods here look vastly different to the woods in the areas of this island that did not burn. So Cadillac Mountain shares the name with the motor car. And there is a connection. Anybody on the bus on a Cadillac?
No, that was a big no.
Nobody willing to admit it? I happen to figure there's a couple of anonymous Cadillac owners on this bus, but you just don't want to be buying the drinks at the fish house tonight. Now, Cadillac Mountain used to be called Green Mountain. When it was Green Mountain, there was a hotel and a restaurant on top. Those are long since gone. There was also a cog railway that ran up Green Mountain. Eventually, they opened a carriage road up to the top of the mountain, and that put the railway out of business. A lot less expensive to take the carriage up. One of the engines and several of the cars that used to go up the incline railway on this mountain we're going to go up, now go up and down Mount Washington in New Hampshire. They were sold to that outfit. So why is it called Cadillac, and what's the connection with the car? Back in the day in Europe, when they needed people to join the army, what they would do is they would go to the prisons. They would make the prisoners an offer they couldn't refuse. Rot in jail or join the army. Nice offer. There was a fellow in a French jail. His name was Antoine de la Mothe, and there's another overview of Frenchman's Bay. That's a new hotel. It was completed about 2 years ago. So Antoine de la Mothe took them up on their offer, and he joined the brigade of General Frontenac, very famous French general. If you have ever been to Quebec City, you've seen the magnificent hotel that bears Frontenac's name. Now, as it turns out, de la Mothe was a very talented man and became critical in aiding Frontenac in his escapades. And Frontenac wanted to reward him. At the time, this island and the surrounding area were under French control. So Frontenac went to Louis XIV, and he proposed to Louis XIV that this mountain immediately to our left, talk about timing, be given to de la Mothe. Louis XIV declined. Why? He had a great disdain for the common man. So what de la Mothe then did? He adopted the name of his hometown in France, which was called Cadillac. He created a coat of arms for himself, something similar to which is on the front of every Cadillac today. He became Antoine de la Mothe de Cadillac, the name of a nobleman. And at that point, Louis XIV relented and allowed Frontenac to gift him the mountain we're about to go up. So why does the motor car share the name? Even though he was given this mountain, he only stayed here for 1 or 2 years. He then went to what is now known as Detroit, and he opened the very first trading post. He is also known as the father of Detroit. There's a statue outside Detroit in his honor. Not bad for a guy that was rotting in a French jail just a couple of years before. I guess the moral of that story is you never know where the road will take you. And I already told you the road we're about to go up, 3.2 miles each way. Now, Cadillac Mountain is our tallest mountain on this island. One of the things that makes this island so unique, we have 26 mountains on this island, and this is the only place on the eastern seaboard of the United States where there are mountains at the ocean. If you wanted to find mountains south of here along the seaboard, you would have to go all the way down to Brazil. Now, our tallest is Cadillac. If you live near a bona fide mountain range, you might laugh and scoff at our mountains. Cadillac is 1,530 feet high. A lot of people that live in a bona fide mountain range would consider that a foothill. But because our mountains here rise directly from the ocean, they appear much taller than they are. You'll see that when we get to the top of Cadillac, you'll have the sense you're up much higher than a quarter of a mile. Now, I think I should mention this. When we go up and down the mountain road, all of our lives are going to be in Frank's hands. I think we ought to send Frank a little love right now. Any love for Frank?
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Lots of love.
That sounded pretty weak.